Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 40 Before Noon podcast. It is officially before noon, but there's no drinks today because my mom texted me saying that don't drink if Zweback's here and he's not drinking. So this is where we're currently at. But honestly, I think my mom's going to be the most fired up for this episode out of anybody that's currently listening. We are joined by Zweback. How are you, Zway?
I'm good, man. Just woke up. I'm pretty sure we're right there on the same levels right now. But happy to be here, man. I was really looking forward to this. I even told my girlfriend about it, so that's how you know it's a big deal.
Oh,
Zoo, did you tell your girlfriend about this?
I don't know. She wouldn't really give a shit. I told all my friends that. I'm watching a guy watch for like 9 years, so it's pretty fire for me.
All right, cool. Throughout this podcast, we're going to be talking about how me and Zweback met, which I had to think about a little bit. And I honest to God, might be wrong. So I want to compare notes on that. A few things about his life that maybe some of you guys don't know. And then, we'll just kind of see where the hour takes us. And the Raising Cane shirt on the podcast is absolutely incredible, too.
Yo, dude, I honestly thought about how extra I wanted to show up today. And it was like, hey, it's Buck, so I gotta pull out all the stops. So I got I even got the shorts on. I don't know if you guys want.
God, you love those shorts, man.
Got the shorts, got the Bates and 87 slippers. You already know what the damn deal is. You already know what it is.
Let's just start with this, just because you brought out the Bates and 87 slippers. I know, how do I say it? Being a streamer and having to meet people of the opposite sex and try to convince them to fall in love with you. I think it's hard enough as I play video games for a living, right? What do they say, or how long does it take for you to whip out the Bates and 87 slippers with a significant other?
That one took a while. It's been 2 years. She found out about the Bates and 87 slippers maybe a month ago, and it's been 2 years. Nah, but it's definitely an interesting conversation. Definitely an interesting conversation. But she'll ask me every now and again. And she's like, "Do you actually not wash the shorts?" And I'm like, I kind of don't. And she's all about it though. I got really lucky. She's about all the quirkiness and stuff like that. So I can be a professional clown. So but the Bates and 87 slippers they're probably my prized possession. Do you know the story behind the Bates and 87 slippers?
I don't know.
The fact that only one pair was ever made in the world?
No shot.
Oh, no way.
Have them?
Okay, so here's the story. Bateson partnered with iSlides, and he might roast me for saying this. And so basically he had a line of slippers made with iSlide, and these are them. And he messages me on WhatsApp. He's like, "Yo, Zway." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Only one person in the world bought them." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And it's like, "It was you." And I'm like, he's like, "They'll be arriving in a month or so." And so when I got them, I just keep them so close because
it's like Supreme, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of one.
One
of one, man. So just very, very funny. But I don't know how they became part of the stream thing, but just, sometimes you know how it is. Impromptu stuff out of the blue.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that's always the funniest.
And people would kill for those things now.
Oh,
the funniest Bates, and this is so random, I remember this too. The funniest Bateson advertisement I've ever seen him do is he used to have this really, really shitty hat company that he used to, I don't know if you remember this. It was kind of like when he first came back to Twitch, all of the hats that he got sponsored by, or the company, looked like when you're on a road trip and you pull up to a gas station in the middle of nowhere and they're trying to sell that city's hat. So he'd show up to stream with trucker hats on. I'm like, "What are you doing, dude? Come on, man."
My gosh.
Bro, it was so damn funny, but yeah, the guy, if there's a bag out there, I think Bates and 87 is going to grab it, but good for him. That's the way it works at the end of the day.
He's a legend, absolute legend.
I love him. All right. We're going into how we met. I guess we didn't even really intro Zweback. I think everybody that's listening to the podcast at this point probably knows who you are.
For sure.
Is there any specific way you'd like to intro yourself aside from streamer, YouTuber, Kane's connoisseur?
Golly, you know what I mean? I don't really, I don't know. That's always a tough thing. When you introduce yourself to some, the significant other's parents, right?
Oh, it's the worst.
"Hello, my name is, whatever, Ryan, aka Zwenyo's Zweback, aka the adult virgin." And then you get into what you do. And depending on their age, you might say something like, "I work for Google," right? You know what I mean? Or something like I do editing for Google, because if you go down that rabbit hole of content creation, there's a good chance they might just totally zone out. And then nudge their daughter and be like, "This is not, I don't want you."
They're going like this. And
yeah,
shit.
they're like, "No, wrap it up. But I know, professional clown. You know what I mean? That's usually how that's what I would, that's how I describe myself. Maybe aspiring, maybe in a past life I wanted to be like Prince or like a musical, like an artist or something like that. But I don't know, professional clown. That's pretty much it.
I don't
And
know. A lot of
how
a
we,
lot of people would consider you an artist, man. I gotta say, MC Zwei has some fucking tunes.
hey, I push that SoundCloud whenever I can, dude. So, hey, I appreciate it. But, I don't know. It's like a little side hobby, It's a little side hobby that just keeps things fun, a little
I
spicy.
think my mom's like 56 years old, and you got her to sign up for fucking SoundCloud. Dude.
Yes,
So
dude.
there's one more follower there for sure.
Oh my God, bless her.
All right, so this is super random, and because obviously I think my envisionment, or like when I think the two of us met, was I think it was PAX East in Boston. I think it's the very first time I met you, but I also don't even know if that's right either.
Mhm.
And the only thing that I remember, and because we were watching your Draw My Life video last night, you went to school in Boston,
Yep.
and I somehow.
God. You guys are like, you guys know Nardwar? You guys know Nardwar?
Yeah.
You guys
I
have
know
done
that.
your research, man.
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah.
We
The guy
watched
knows
one
everything.
video, dude.
This is
We've
a
just
great-
watched you over the years. It's all right. And then we went to go play ping pong, I think, at your old college that night. Was that your old college, or was it just like a random one that was there?
No, that's an old that was a college that accepts 20% of all applicants, and I got into it by the skin of my teeth. But yeah, Northeastern, and that was it. I think that was it. Yeah,
I think
PAX
that was
East
the night.
and that was what, 2018, maybe 17.
Dude, I don't know. All I know is I had like 9 games of FIFA to play at that tournament the next day, and I couldn't give a shit, dude. So that's what it was.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, but I've mentioned in my stream a million times too, and this is like super random, but I think I've met you more than any other FIFA person. And I just because of the events that we've all been to. I
Yeah.
think in LA, I think we've been to Boston twice. We're in
Yep.
Germany. And then like all the Miami FIFA stuff as well. And Orlando too, because you're in Orlando as well. So
Yes. Yep.
that's because like we're the only 2 FIFA people that fly in an airplane.
No,
Nobody
that's
else
right.
decides to do it. in
Everyone's
America.
scared. Yeah, everyone's scared. Yeah, I think we've run into each other like 3 or 4 times. Well, yeah, Orlando, PAX East, and then yeah, Germany was so much fun.
Germany was a lot
I
of
missed
fun.
that. Yeah, that was super super fun. But yeah, the first time, and we rolled up to Shake Shack in Boston, I'm pretty sure.
Yep. That was my first
and you
ever
were
Shake Shack experience.
you were competing there, right? You were playing there for Colorado.
Competing's a stretch, but yes, we were there. Yeah.
What was
Showing
hold
up.
on. What was the goal differential? What was your goal differential?
I didn't do that bad. I mean, the first year I got the shit kicked out of me. I'm not gonna lie, like it was pretty bad. The second year though, I went like 4-5 at an event. I'm like, okay, that's not terrible.
Yeah.
And then like 4-6 or some shit afterwards. But like one kid got disqualified for selling coins or something. So it was like I would have got
not mid tournament or
like right before the tournament was announced. It was either there was like I think they banned a few of them for
Yikes.
buying coins for their account, and all these kids kicked the shit out of everybody. I'm like, what do you need to buy coins for, man? Like, it's 2020, dude. Like, let's figure this shit out, you know?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they were all about it. But yeah, no, I was gonna say I think that's how we met. But what I wanted to mention, which is so weird, because I was never like into FIFA YouTube at all. It was just like a game that I played growing up, and when I went to college and there was only 700 people that went to my college, I was like, fuck, I got to figure out something to do because I'm bored out of my mind. Which streaming just became a thing. Zoo has known you forever and like kind of watched you forever. The very first video I ever saw of you was the video of you saying that you got swatted. That's the very first video that ever popped up, which is like super random. Like I'm playing the video game and that was it. And I remember just sitting there watching you open packs and you're telling like this whole story about how you were in like an interrogation bus for like 6 hours or van, whatever it was. That had been one of the weirdest things ever. We don't need to dive into it too much if it's like it's not a fantastic memory whatsoever, but I just thought it was the weirdest thing ever that was the first video I saw.
Well, first off, the video was a banger. The video slapped.
Yeah.
But it was, yeah. So that was I think it was like 2015, 2016. Yeah, I guess long story short, I mean, it was just absolute, it was craziness. I was streaming and like someone posted my address in the chat and I saw that in the corner of my eye. And like, when you see something weird in the chat, you're like,
yeah,
okay, all right. So I wind the stream down, I get off, and then we're on Skype at the time. That's what everyone was using. And then it was Nick and Nep and Bates. And I go in there and I'm like, guys, I saw this guy posted my address and my stepdad's name in the chat. And they're like, yeah, don't worry about it. It's probably fine. And then like an hour later, I start getting calls from like this guy with a broken accent. He's like, yo, or, are you home? Are you home? And I'm like, bro, stop calling me. And so like, I found out later that night, that was like the police chief in Miami. And he was trying to get a hold of me just to, try to confirm who I was. And so I freaked out. I get in the car. I roll out, like I just reverse. And then there's like there's like SWAT vehicles all over the neighborhood. And then I pull up to one of them and I try to get them to roll the window down. I thought I could talk my way out of the situation, but the window was not going down, and it was like 11 at night, and it was totally murked out, and they couldn't see in, and they could probably see me just looking like an absolute weirdo. So I roll the window back up. I pull up, I pull out, and I call the guy up. I'm like, look, I know what this is. I'm being, I don't think I said I'm being swatted, but I said, I know what this is. Let me know where you want me to go. And so he's like, come to the bridge. I go to the bridge, and then, I stop the car. There's like spotlights and like red dots and all that sort of stuff. And then I just basically turn myself over, and they interrogate me for like an hour or two. Honestly, once they had me in custody, I guess I was fine because I think I was out of danger, right? But apparently, all that night while I was streaming, they were like around the house. The cops were set up for hours while I was streaming. And so, okay, so I'm not going to draw this out too long, but we're in the interrogation, man, and there's like, it felt like Denzel Washington, Gene Hackman, Hunt for Red October, like headquarters, right? I'm sitting there with my hair in front of my face. I'm zip tied behind my back. I look like I did what they said I did. Like, it was a very grim call. Let me just, without getting too explicit, the call that they put into the police office was nuts. And one of the officers says, one of our most highly decorated officers says that he saw you with a gun by your pool. And I said, officer, the only thing that I had at my pool is a box of buffalo chicken Triscuit crackers. And then at that point, everything else, it just started to de-escalate from that moment on. And then my mom, like, they got her on the phone. She's like, sweetie, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. She lives in South Carolina. She's like, sweetie, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm okay, mom. And my brother was wasted. He was living in Charlotte at the time. And the police were trying to get a hold of him. Oh. And so they were telling him, and he couldn't believe what he was hearing. And he let me know the next day. But everything worked out. But, it's one of those things, man, learning experience. And, like, now we can joke about it. But it's a crazy world.
Yeah. Did they ever find out, like, how hard is it to track back someone who starts something like that? You know what I mean? Did they tell you if it's like impossible or?
Apparently tough, because they a week later they said, we have the call. Do you want to listen to the call? Like what the call was, and I was like, I just want to be done with this.
Yeah, that's fair.
That entire week, like Telemundo and they'd come to the house, and I'd lie that I was my brother. They're like, is Ryan here? We'd like to interview him. I'm like, no, I'm Tyler. He's away, but he'll be back soon. I'll let him know. Give me your number or whatever. So basically they weren't able to find it. He used like what's called a Skype resolver or something. Okay. So if they have your username, back in the day, you could get the IP and the address very easily, which is nuts. So I guess maybe that's why it was more swatting was more prevalent. But nowadays, if you like have a fairly, you know how it is with these guys. I don't know, like Aiden and all that.
Yeah, I was gonna say like all the big name like real life streamers it still happens like to this day, right?
Yeah. So anyway. Yeah, it was a good learning experience.
It's not a learning experience most people want to go through, but
yeah, no. Yeah, if you can avoid the swatting part of the content creation dream or whatever, yeah, I advise trying to avoid that. But
if you could skip that chapter of Rosetta Stone, dude, just go ahead and just cruise on by.
Oh my gosh.
Good.
Yeah, like God. I said, banger video, made my own thumb. Yeah. Hey.
Dude, you get thrown lemons, you make lemonade. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So. All right. One of the questions, and I think it'll kind of tie back into more of your life before FIFA and everything. One of my buddies, his name's Grunt. He watches your stream. He said that he heard you say that basically streaming for you right now is you just trying to build like your resume to become an actor. Was that you just talking shit, or was that you like? Because I know once again,
you did screenwriting, right? Like that's what you were into before school?
Yeah. Yep.
So is there any truth behind that, I guess, behind that statement?
It's funny, right? Because like, I don't know, like in front of a camera, I feel like I'd be really bad. Like I'm half joking here when I say this, but I feel like in front of like any sort of acting or anything like that, I feel like in front of our audiences and in front of like in your room or in your studio, you're way more comfortable being just kind of like who you are and like quirky or whatnot. But if I was ever in a setting where, I mean, any sort of situation where like you're being directed or something, I feel like I'd kind of melt. But yeah, I don't know. I never. That's funny though, because I went to school for screenwriting, which is like obviously behind the camera development kind of stuff, and then I kind of ended up here, which is in front of the camera, which is never anything that I ever really had any interest in doing. But yeah, I mean, I love film, and I'd maybe at some point in life I'd like to be involved in something, whether it's directing or I don't know, maybe acting. I never genuinely like most of the time it's a joke, but yeah, maybe writing or directing or something like that. And yeah, because I did go to school for screenwriting and communications, but I guess it's maybe like a fantasy and the whole music artist thing as well. Just living out I don't know, I don't know. I don't know if I'm answering that right, but yeah, I mean, I've loved the creative process, and since I was a little kid, like whatever, drawing and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe some point down the road. You might see me in a commercial, maybe a Raising Cane's commercial.
That was
Jack
good money, man.
Doing a Raising Cane's commercial with Jack. Well, he's got the KFC sponsorship, but a Raising Cane's commercial with Jack Harlow would be like
That's true.
That'd be the dream, the
Yeah.
collab. A Raising Cane's commercial rapping with Jack Harlow.
Oh, there you go.
That would be.
Yeah.
Can you picture it? The door opens, the Bates and 87 slipper pops down on the ground. You see the shorts, and then you see the shirt. Oh,
The crassy ad libs are just coming in, dude, as well.
dude,
This is unbelievable.
someone told me, they always tell me that he deserves some kind of royalty for the amount of times because every Prime jingle has, oh my goodness, man, this is unbelievable, man. Every song has it.
Does he know that you have that in there?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure he knows. We've never talked about it. The only interactions we have ever had is like me rating him or him rating me. That's it. But there's a connection there, so I don't know.
Oh, that's awesome. I was gonna say, we've asked people before about this, but if you wanted to get into like screenwriting and film school, like I went to film school as well for like my first years of college. But it was because I was like trying to do like YouTube stuff when I was younger.
Yeah.
Did YouTube come first? Because I know, once again, the Draw My Life video gave us a lot of information that we would have not known beforehand. But you basically said in that YouTube kind of gave you the same feeling of like your first screenwriting presentation where you made people laugh and you're able to make people happy, and like the interaction on YouTube kind of felt the exact same. Was there, I guess, like what made you want to go to film school in the first place?
Damn, dude, like you're refreshing. You're like bringing back memories now.
I'm glad we are. That's our job.
I didn't know what I want when I graduated high school. I had like I talk about it on stream all the time, but like I did not have good grades. I think I had like a 2.6 GPA. Just cared way more about video games than like school. I just basically applied because everyone else I knew was like applying, and they're like excited. They're like, oh, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go there. I'm like, all right. Like I just wanted to play Madden and FIFA and stuff, but wait, hold on. What was the original question?
What
Well,
got
just
you
kind of
into
how
film school?
Yeah, and like how it made you feel the same as YouTube and stuff.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, I mean, I chose film just because it's the only. I kind of just fell into it just because I don't know. I just like watched movies, and it was something that I felt I could be passionate about. And then the YouTube thing, I was in a job that I didn't really love. I was doing like PowerPoint presentations for like a financial company, and before that I was like an assistant in Los Angeles. So that's a whole nother saga. That was about 2 years. But then after that I came back to Miami, and I worked in marketing for this credit card processing company, which is the most boring thing in the entire world. And then I'd come home at night, and then I'd stream, and then I'd make videos, and it was kind of like I don't know. I kind of felt like it was definitely like an extension of what I wanted to do initially when I went out to Los Angeles. Like I wanted to do something creative and I don't know, like share my experience in some way. And then gaming was always a part of it. And then like it's so weird. because it just kind of came together by mistake in a lot of ways. I still remember being in that office, and having to come up with the YouTube channel name. And I was like, what am I gonna like come up with? And then I thought about this little cookie that I grew up in Germany with, and that's Zweback. And so don't come after me if you're with that company. It has nothing to do with that. So I made a slight I was smart enough that I made a slight alteration to the name.
There you go.
And then I just started uploading, man, like Age of Empires originally. PlanetSide 2 was a game I played back in the day. It wasn't even FIFA originally. One of the funnest things you can do with a YouTube channel is sort by oldest and look at those early videos. It's just so much fun. But it just kind of filled that void. So yeah, getting back to the question, it just it fulfilled a creative thing that I needed at that point, where I was doing something so mundane that I needed something like that was fulfilling me creatively, and that was it. That was it at the start, and it still is.
Damn.
I was gonna say, like, when did it come to FIFA? Like, when did FIFA come into the picture? Because I watched like old FIFA. Like, I was watching you in FIFA 15, but like, was it around there that you kind of started turning, or did you start before then too?
Pretty early on. Again, like I dabbled with Age of Empires, which, I mean, if I had known like how YouTube and like Twitch worked, I would not have started with that because no one was watching. But again, it wasn't really about that back then. It was more about, doing quirky voices and I didn't care who watched. I just wanted, to like get that stuff out there. I had always played online seasons with Bayern from like FIFA 07, FIFA 08. And then so I think a few months into the creation of either Twitch or YouTube, and I mean, it was a while ago, so I don't know which one I did first, but I just started uploading, I think, my games of online seasons with Bayern. Not even Ultimate Team. I think 2013 was my first Ultimate Team, but FIFA was pretty early on. It was like a few months into it is when I got into FIFA, and I think I did it because I was looking up. I was watching some guys in the community. It might have been Matt and Nep and Skills, and I was like, all right, these guys are doing this. Like, this would be kind of cool to do. Damn, it's so long ago, I forget what the actual thought process was, but it was something like that for sure.
Would you say, because honestly, in my opinion, I think you're the play review GOAT. I was watching like the FIFA 15, like the passport, the songs at the start, the play, like all of the details on the card. Like, you make a song for every player card that ever existed. I think that's kind of where I was like, that's where I saw you like take off. Like, was the play reviews, to me, at least. Was that like your thought process? Because you're like, no one was really doing it. I can't think of it. They would do play reviews, right? But it'd be like, oh, let's check his stats, blah, blah, blah. No one's making a jingle about, one of my favorite is Fata Vargas.
Yes, dude.
That's one of my favorite videos of all time. The Fata Alexis Sanchez. I was always watching them around the World Cup because I'm half Chilean, so those are all my boys. And this guy's making videos on Vargas, making a song about him. What the hell is this? I feel like that was just like a complete different change that like no one was doing at all.
It's funny because like, and again, I'll invoke Nep a lot here. He was the guy that kind of invited me. He kind of like opened his arms and like came into my Twitch chat like way back in the day and got me involved in like the networking aspect of it. Cause my business acumen is not good. I'm not naturally organized. I don't naturally like numbers or anything like that. I kind of just like doing what I want to do. And so, I didn't look at it that way. I didn't look at the community and think, what is it missing? I was just kind of just being, again, like you said, like the Fanta videos and like Cuauhtémoc Blanco. By the way, we need more Chilean players in FIFA 23.
I know, but we suck now, bro. Don't expect many. That's the golden age. We had the golden age back then.
EA give out moments for basically anything, man.
Yeah,
so we just get like a Chile promo instead of Future Stars Team 2. Surprise, guys. No Future Stars Team 2. We're doing this for Zoo. Full Chile squad. 99 rated every card.
That would be insane.
But I mean, like I didn't really see them really as reviews. I mean, like they were, and like I needed a title, but and that's another thing that would always yell at me about. He's like, "Wait, you have to work on your titles. These are dreadful." I'm like, okay, but just an extension extension I don't know, I don't know how to explain it. Just
it's kind of like being yourself, but it kind of, to me, is like it struck gold. Like you didn't even like mean to in a way. It sounds like.
It's what I thought was fun. Like if there was a storyline or a thread in the world of football, like if a follower like like I have an attachment to Mexico in a very strong way with the Jarritos and like all the, Chicharito back in the day. I think him more than anyone I've done epis on the channel, but I don't know, just it's a way that like the connection to the players makes me feel, and that transfers into the passion to the video. And then so if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But
like, bro, you make me buy the weirdest players just because you made a fucking hilarious video on it. And I'm like, bro, I fucking need that card. And then there'd be maybe junk, but it was like, I had to.
Bro, they accuse like, they're like, why do you hype up trash cards? And
That's
I'm
what
like,
saying,
dude,
bro.
Okay, maybe like he has 60 agility, but like get him in a game and see what's up. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Try a long shot with him or something like that. It's not, have a little bit of fun with it,
good.
It's better, you go ahead and use your 92 Mbappe for the rest of Weekend League, but give him a shot.
But FIFA's not like that anymore. That's why I think it was just so good, right? Like you don't see those like old cards. Like there used to be like purple cards. I remember like back in the day, they used to have so many more colors and like all these crazy ass cards. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's tough to see now, I guess. But that was the golden age of FIFA. So
you want to know what? So just on that topic, I actually enjoy coming up against the meta squads with like an emotional team, like the Player of the Month Surlut. If I come up against the guy that has 92 Mbappe and I beat him with my Player of the Month Surlut, it's just a great feeling.
Yeah.
If you just give the camera that look, you know what I mean? That little like, little.
That's so good.
All right, we'll go back because I want to know more. Obviously, we talked a little bit about the college stuff and life before FIFA, but there are people on my stream that have said that they would pay a lot of money to see you sit in like a middle school classroom, like growing up, just to see if you look and talk and act the exact same as you do now. Yeah. And there was like a poll that was pretty much taken. Everybody's like, dude, I got a feeling he's been this way his entire fucking life. That's what they're all like. Do you have any like funny school memories, I guess, from like middle school or high school that you'd want to share?
Funny stories. I was like, I wasn't really, my mom once told me a thing. There was a kid in my class. I'm not going to name him. We had a really small class. I went to like a small school. We had like 60 kids in our graduating class. And there was one of the kids there. He was like, I guess, one of the popular kids. I was not, by the way. She comes up to me. She's like, you know who said you're hilarious? I'm like, who? I'm like, Derek. And I'm like, oh, interesting. And like at the time, I just didn't pay. It's like my mom just telling me something I didn't want to hear. I just wanted to go in my room and play video games or whatever. But and I just thought to myself, like, okay, I mean, I guess basically what I'm saying is I was very much an introvert. I was very much an introvert. I didn't like class presentations. I didn't like any of that stuff. I played sports, but if you were to like ask classmates, they definitely wouldn't say that I was like the class clown or anything because I really didn't speak that much. You know what I mean? I kind of just went to school, was like passed out for most of my classes. You know what I mean? Because I was up late, playing games or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess inside I've always had a quirkiness to me or something like that, or like a clownish type thing. But yeah, no, I can't think of anything. Yeah, I can't think of anything in high school. I just kind of went through the motions and then just played football and tried to play soccer. I'm horrible at soccer, but football, and then lacrosse a little bit. But outside of that, yeah, no, I don't really have any funny high school stories. I'm trying. If I think of one, I'll tell you. But I'm trying to think if there's anything memorable.
I guess, did YouTube cause the quirkiness to come out of you then? If you're saying you were introverted at first, I guess, was there a turning point? Was it the screenwriting in college that allowed you to like, kind of show that side of you or be, I guess, more comfortable with that side of you?
So maybe, but like my favorite classes were the writing classes where we'd go in, we'd write pages. The teacher would be like, go home, write 3 pages of a comedy script or anything that you want. And then we would go into the class the next day and we would get to pick out what students we'd want to read which parts. And so they'd go to the front of the class and then they'd read out your script and you'd kind of just sit there. And I was terrified. Every time I'd go in, I'd be like, what are these people going to think of me with like what is being said? And like, I don't know. I think maybe I was very scared of judgment. Right. And so I just sit there in the corner of the room, just kind of like, I don't know, a little terrified, like of what to expect. But then like they would laugh and the teacher would give good feedback, sometimes not good feedback. And then there was one time, I'll never forget it. The teacher was like, you know what, Ryan, you'd be a really good writer for like SNL or something. And I was like, it was like one of the greatest compliments. And it could have been a teacher just saying a thing to boost a kid's, confidence or whatever. but that's something that stood with me, and I'm like, that's cool. Like that's kind of like what I think I'd want to maybe go towards. And so yeah. So yeah, I don't know if that answers that.
No, it answers it for
I
sure.
think so.
Sports wise, dude, you said your brother's 6'7". Is he? He's legit 6'7"? Or you? I assume your dad.
6'6".
Okay.
He's like 6'6", 6'6" and a half. But
That's
I'm not
so-
gonna give him too much credit. But yeah, he's tall. He's tall.
Did I mean, because I know you're tall as well too. I know you're saying you weren't that good at soccer. Did he play sports growing up as well then?
My brother did. Yeah, he was a baller. He was really good. He played everything. He played soccer, American football, lacrosse, basketball, and then he dominated at every game. He had and I always say, like, he had the talent and I had the heart. Like, I tried to do what he did and just didn't, I was good. I was all right. Like, I started from, lacrosse and American football. But again, I had a class of 60 kids and I played, I was a left tackle I was 6'2", 170 wet. You know what I mean? Like, just fully. So, and I'm always bitter about it, man, because I feel like I have a pretty good arm. I've got better hands, but because we had such a small school, if you were tall, you played on the line. But yeah, no, he was legit. He played receiver. He was a striker. But I tell him, he probably could have gone like at least D2 if he had like really pushed himself. But my mom's tall, so that's where he got it. That's where we got the
Bro,
he got his
we
height.
heard that she's a pickleball beast.
She is. Yeah, she is. She's yeah, it's so crazy. Like, Buck, you were saying it's like the fastest growing sport in the States or something?
Oh,
like
Yeah,
right now,
because
it has to be.
everybody over 50 has a sport to play now. I think that's the reason why, dude.
But yeah, she's like, yeah, she's competing. She's like getting medals. I sent you that picture, but yeah, she's got like, I don't know, she got like 20 medals. I think she got gold in the 65 plus bracket or something like that. And she's going to like Naples here in Florida. She's going to Naples. She goes to Arizona and California for like tournaments and stuff. So she takes it really seriously. She played tennis at a high level.
That helps,
and again,
yeah.
I got none of the physical genes, right? So like all this stuff, my brother got it all. She played tennis and she blew out her knee a couple times. And so she can't run the way she used to. So pickleball, it's a smaller court. So it's more confined. And so she can kind of live that out playing pickleball.
That's pretty badass though. Like when you think, I know he's like cracking the jokes about being the over 50, but like think about that. Like if you were like played tennis your whole life and you're like, damn, my dad's a huge tennis player. So it's like dreams over, but he still is like, I'm not playing pickleball until I can't fucking stand up myself. I'm like, all right, man, like chill out. It's not that serious. But what I gotta ask you, because you would know, is Boris, what's his last name? Was it a German tennis player, right? Or something like that?
Is it like Boris Legend, you mean?
Yeah. No, but I'm talking about the tennis.
Oh, Boris
player.
Becker.
Boris Becker, right?
Yeah, Boris Becker.
Okay. That I know you'd probably know him because that's my dad named our first cat Boris.
Really? After Boris Becker?
Yeah, seriously. That's why I've always remembered Boris Becker for some reason.
I don't
German goat. German.
Yeah.
I thought you were. I thought FIFA.
No. I knew I was talking about the German goat. Yeah, I remember that.
My dad named our cat after Boris Legend. Could you imagine?
The handsome half Sweden, half Croatian.
Oh, he's a good-looking cat, dude. He is. He's a very good-looking guy.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say, have you gone out there to watch your mom play in any of these tournaments?
You know what? I'm a bad son.
Oh,
This question. Yeah, I haven't. I just haven't. She's got a pickleball court. So she lives in Carolina. She's got a pickleball court. Actually, it's crazy. She has a pickleball court on her farm, and I've never played there. So maybe sometime this year, I gotta step up and
Gotta get
But
like
then
a
if I go-
son tourney, man. Imagine that.
That would be kind of cool. But here's the thing: she'll play with Tyler. She'll play. She'll play. Why would she play with me when she can dominate with him? You know what I mean? So I could film it, or like I don't know, like but I don't know. My sport is ping pong. That's a sport that I can like. I'm not incredible at it, but I love it. I could play it for hours. Man.
I feel like you wouldn't be that bad at pickleball, dude.
Gotta be good, man.
Maybe, I don't know, man. If I'll send you guys video footage of it if I ever give it a whirl one of these days.
I gotta get what you were gonna say. Like, imagine like you show up to one of her tournaments and then like your bad luck. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Like she's kicking ass, and then you show up, she gets a loss. She's like, "What the fuck, man? Like, what the
She
hell?"
she would never let me live that down. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
don't maybe I don't risk it, you know. She's doing all right without me, so hey, let's
True.
let her feast.
I think there's a grace period because I went through the same thing. My mom got like addicted to pickleball, and our stocking stuffers for Christmas that year where everybody got a pickleball racket and balls. And I'm like, it's like 2 years ago. And I'm like, Mom, fuck off. This is shit gift. It's terrible. I'm not playing fucking pickleball, Mom. So finally we played like a weekend or two ago. Like she came out to the court and we played. And every time she hit the ball up, I slammed it as hard as I could at her. And I'm like, you really want me to play this shit for 2 years? I don't think she'll ever ask me to play again, is what happened.
Oh
But
my gosh.
I don't know. It's a fun sport. What I want to ask, we kind of have asked everybody about this. Do you have like a funniest moment or I don't know, just like a strangest moment where you've been recognized in public? Because I assume everybody knows that you're from Miami and you've been around Miami forever.
Yeah.
Which I don't let me forget this question too, but I want to ask if you and Pete ever played each other in high school sports. I feel like you had to have. I don't know where he went to school. I'm afraid if I text him right now, he's currently having like a 16-hour slumber like he usually does.
That guy's schedule, like, oh man, I get the chills whenever I think of his schedule.
It's
I
wild.
genuinely get the chills. It's like vampire. It's like a vampire. Like he's like a Miami vampire. Funny in person. Okay, well, to answer the second question, we never played each other. I don't know where he went to school, but we never played each other. What did he play? Do we know?
He played football as well. He played football and he played baseball.
Baseball, yeah, I know.
He kept saying that he played against some school out there that's like, because obviously Florida high school football is known for being like just top tier. Like they're sending kids to every Division I school in the country. He
Yeah.
said there's this one school that was around you guys that you guys had to play. And the way he described it, I think word for word was, I don't know what the fuck they're feeding these kids over there is what he said. But they had Pete line up as like the long snapper, and they just kept cracking him the entire game, dude.
No, yeah, Florida's brutal. I mean, I went to a small school, but then every now and again we would get I don't know what our scheduling office was thinking, but they'd match us up against like this. There's a school called Bay Point, Michael Crop, Archbishop Curley, and like these kids, you know, we'd be sitting there like watching film on a Thursday, and the running back is like getting scouted by UM, and we're just like, I'm just looking at everyone, and what are we doing? Like, what are we gonna do on Friday? Like, we're just gonna get absolutely rocked. And so, okay, so just like a really quick story, we played Archbishop Curley, and their running back at the time was being scouted by like all the Miami schools. And I just remember thinking like, I don't know what we're gonna do, and I almost had him. I like my arm was I was on the ground for most of the game, but my arm was like reaching out, and I just saw this like leg just like plant and then dust, and then it was gone. And like that was the closest I got to him all game. He ran for like, I don't know, 300 yards against us. But Florida, yeah, I mean it was super fun. But yeah, I don't know. We should find out where Pete went to school. But yeah, funny things where I met someone in person. Well, I just went to Barcelona. And I was in front of a cathedral, and then like I'll always know it because they'll pull up with like insane energy, and these three guys just come up and you get that look and you're like, here we go. These are some Yam boys right here. They were dripped out. They were like looking, you know what I mean? And he's like Zwe, and I'm like, what's up, dude? He's like, oh, dude, and it was three Portuguese kids, and I have this thing on the channel where I have like Ronaldo, Eusebio, and João Felix, and I call them the Tres Amigos, the three friends. And so we had that little connection there. So that was cute. Like that was cool. That's like one of my favorite things.
That's pretty badass.
So we got a picture and stuff. But the weirdest, I'm trying to think. The weirdest.
Bateson told us he got recognized in a toilet at a bar.
Oh
That's
my
like,
God.
Where the guy was like looking at him. He's like, Bateson? Well, they were both peeing, too. And Bateson's like, yeah, mate. Like,
I won't. I'll tell you what. I won't top that. I will not top that. That is.
I don't know if anybody could top that.
Oh my
dude.
gosh.
There had to have been an opportunity for the guy to say something beforehand, but yeah,
That's too funny.
I would say I think with. I don't know if this is like probably right or wrong, but you could probably correct me. I think with YouTubers, they probably get recognized a whole lot more often just because they don't sit inside their house for 12 hours a day. Like they're forced to be in one chair. Whereas like streamers, I feel like it's more like event probably based if you're out and about doing stuff.
Yeah, that makes. I mean, that logic checks out to me. I think that probably makes sense.
That's what I don't know. That's what I've kind of thought. we heard once again, Draw My Life. We saw your dad's a fashion photographer.
Yep.
Is that what he still does?
I think he's like semi-retired. He kind of moved into like more like what he was like doing like calendars and stuff. He's got a crazy story, but yeah, growing up, that's why we moved to Miami. Because Miami had like a pretty big fashion scene, and it still does. But we were living in Germany at the time, and it kind of was a best case scenario because my mom liked it there and like adapted and learned the language and just didn't love it there because she's from California originally. So, ideally she would want to come back to the States. And so he got an opportunity to move us there. And yeah, so we did. And so, yeah, that's what he did. So it was interesting. I have some fun stories with that. We were in Jamaica when I was like, I don't know, 9 or 10 during the summer. We'd go to wherever he was doing a shoot. And there were just like, models in a pool, like topless, just I could like looking back, I can only imagine what my mom like. I thought it was hilarious back then, but now I'm thinking like I don't know what my mom was thinking then, but yeah, I just remember being in a pool when I was like 8 or 9 years old with a bunch of like
just a bunch of boobs, dude.
Swimsuit models, and I'm just thinking to myself, at the time, I guess I didn't fully appreciate it, but like looking back, it was a pretty interesting and unique experience. But yeah, we got to travel a little bit because of that. But he was always gone. That was the only other thing. He was gone for like, I don't know, 6-7 months out of the year. He was a worker. He was a grinder. So maybe that's where, because I think you need a little bit of that with streaming and that sort of stuff. You need that, that
the mentality.
mindset, the mentality. So yeah, that's what he did. And he's very quirky as well. So I think I get my humor from him. I don't think I got anything from my mom.
That just makes so much sense.
You got a few genetics, dude. Height-wise, had to have, right?
Okay, but like my brother got the jawline. I don't have that. I've got the baby face, bro. Like I got to have a beard to hide the baby face. I got, I get like the hips fill up really quickly if I have a donut. My brother's got the super fast metabolism. So I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't know. Maybe she was a gamer in a past life. That's why I'm like relatively competent at video games. But yeah, it was a good combo. But again, she was the tall one, so that's where he got that. That's where he got the height.
We were thinking too, like we saw you were like a Hollywood assistant.
Yeah.
Which like there has to have been some like, do you have any crazy stories with that? Like maybe like a favorite person you got to meet, maybe like a kind of like, because obviously, let's be honest, there's probably huge dickheads to deal with.
Yeah, a lot.
There's got to be a couple, like a certain one that maybe like stuck with you or anything around that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So yeah, I worked for 2 producers, Howard and Karen Baldwin. They produced Ray.
Is that like the Baldwin, like that big?
No.
Everyone,
that's what I thought too. For the first couple of months I worked with them, I was always like, what? I was like, are you guys related to the Baldwins? But they weren't. It's just a very popular name. And yeah, they did Flight of the Navigator, which is a movie back in the 80s. They did Madagascar, not Madagascar. Oh my God.
Say, man.
Not Madagascar. What's the one with Matthew McConaughey? Oh wow. Sahara. They did Sahara, which was a huge flop, but they did films with some good, Ray with Jamie Foxx. And so I hooked up with them and I would read scripts. So what happens is like people will send in scripts to a production company to see what they think. And so I would read the scripts and do a synopsis basically so they didn't have to read them. Yeah, so basically moved out to LA, and for like a year and a half, 2 years I was out there. The coolest guy that I met was probably the German gladiator from Gladiator. Like he's not a big name actor whatsoever, but he had like a side role in Gladiator. And he walks into the office one day and I'm like, this guy looks vaguely familiar. And then the girl sitting next to me is like, that's the German guy from Gladiator. I'm like, that's right. And it's one of my favorite films. So that was cool. But I'm not going to slander him, but Kevin Costner rolled through one time. And like, I don't know, man. It's like, it's sometimes it's better that you don't meet he was, I didn't rate him really as like an incredible actor, but I don't know, man. He had, I don't know, just I guess entitlement or whatever.
I was gonna say, yeah, that I could see that.
So like I had to go downstairs and pick him up, and he pulls up in his like Sadies, and then there's this like old veteran like crossing the road with his dog, and then Costner's out there, with his door open, and he's like looking at me. He's like, "Look at this guy in front of me, just taking forever." And I'm like, "Bro, it's like an 80.
Come on, man.
It's like an 80 or 90-year-old freaking U.S. Marine like walking his dog. He's got the Marine hat. You know what I mean?
Oh God.
And then he drives by me as he's parking. He's like, "These guys." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll tell you what." Yeah, like I agreed with him, right? Because you have to blend into that situation. He's like, "So what are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm just a script reader." He's like, "Good for you. Good for you." And so he gets up to the apartment. They worked out of their apartment, and he hands me a disc that I had to play, and he's like, "This is the most important moment of your life. Make sure this plays."
God.
Oh,
Man.
come on.
I just looked at him. I'm like, "I bet." I'm like, whatever, dude. And but it is what it is. I mean, right? Like if you're at that level, I think you change in some way, right? If you're used to a certain level of treatment, you're gonna think that the world is the world is yours or whatever. I don't know. Who else though? I exchanged emails with Michael Keaton by accident one time. I sent him an email by accident. He's like, "Did you mean to send this to me?" And I was like, "I'm sorry, Mr. Keaton. I did not mean to send this to you." Let's see. I lost the contact sheet. They had a physical. They're old school, so they had literally a folder of like 1,000 Matthew McConaughey's phone number. Jamie, like all these actors' phone numbers, personal numbers. I lost it for 2 days, and I didn't tell them. My gosh, when I found that thing, I don't know, because if that had gotten out, I probably wouldn't have been there for much longer. But it was definitely.
You left that thing in like a restaurant, man, and someone just opens this up, like, what the fuck? I just starts calling up everybody.
I don't even remember where I left it. I think it was somewhere in the apartment, but my mind was telling me that I left it on the roof of my car and that I drove off and that it probably flew off. That's what I thought happened. But it was either in the back seat or it was somewhere in the apartment. But that could have been a nightmare situation.
Did you have a job like during high school or before you went to college or anything?
Not really. My mom would have us paint the house during the summer, so that was kind of like how I got away with not getting a job.
That makes sense.
Like, all right, well, if you're not gonna like, I was super lazy. He's like, if you're not gonna go out and get a job or whatever, you're gonna paint the house. And I'm like, okay. And looking back, it was kind of crazy because it wasn't like the safest thing. Like we had I don't know, my brother and I, we'd be on the ledges there, just kind of like if we slipped, I'm just saying,
Your brother was on his feet though, probably.
He'd be okay. He would just step down from the roof of the house and he'd be fine. I'd be taking a tumble though. But basically just did odd jobs around the house to avoid getting a job.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah. So I got to play more video games and it was good.
So you said you've met people obviously through being a Hollywood assistant. Who is, I guess, the coolest person that you think you've met, like opportunity, like FIFA wise?
FIFA wise, probably Kaká. It was probably Kaká.
That's badass.
It's between Landon Donovan and Kaká. Lando was awesome because it's Lando. You know what I mean? It's like we grew up with that, the goal, all that stuff, and it's just Landon Donovan. But Kaká he blew me away because he was just, first off, he looks incredible. That's the first thing I was like, this guy.
Genetics are strong with him too. Yeah.
God, dude, I got to find out what's going on here. He doesn't.
No.
Does not at all. And he was just so nice. He was like so freaking nice, like genuinely nice. And just an absolute legend. And it was like Sweden, so it was like magical. And it was cool. It was really cool. I'm trying to think, maybe Kai Havertz, but that was by mistake, and it was just for like a couple of minutes. He was in the Fortnite booth at Gamescom in Germany, and everyone else had left, and he was there after everyone had kind of dipped. And so I ran into him, and that was cool. But yeah, probably Kaká. For sure him.
That's super sick. I do.
Yeah.
I tell it every single time that Landon Donovan's brought up, but the first time I met him, which I don't know if it might have been the first time, were you at the All-Star game in Atlanta? Were you at that one?
No, I missed that one.
Okay, because
I was gonna go, but I missed that one.
Okay, so that's where he was there, and I had Waka Flocka as my partner for FIFA, so you can only imagine how well that went. It was me and Waka versus like Dulce and Matt. If like, and the teacher makes the group projects, dude, like that's what was going on. And we got off the stage, and I'll always remember it. It was like, obviously we lost, but we scored a goal, so I got like a little highlight out of it. I was happy about it. We get off, and Landon Donovan is standing there. He's getting mic'd up, and he goes, "Hey man, how'd it go?" And I looked at him, I'm like, "How the fuck do you think it went?" Like just out of impulse, that's what I said. And he started laughing, and we talked for like 3 minutes. I no recollection whatsoever of what was said during that conversation, but I'd always heard he was a dickhead in real life. People are like, "Oh, Landon Donovan, be wary about him," but
Yeah.
nicest guy that I think I've interacted with. And then the whole of the EMLS, which maybe is part of the reason I'm not there anymore, but they all got pissed off at me, I think, because whenever that guy showed up at an event, it was roll out the red carpet. Landon Donovan's going to be here. Everybody's like super timid. Like, I don't even know how to describe it, man. But it was like the third time I'd met him in like a year, and he's walking by, and I go, and he looks at me and like gives me a head nod, and I go, "Sup, dude?" That's like that. And all of like the EMLS faces just like drop, and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing, dude?" Like, I've met him 3 times, man. Like, fuck off, everybody.
That's your boy. That's your boy.
Yeah.
You can do that. You can get away with that.
And
You
that
don't have
was,
to.
and respectfully, that was the very last time that I was at an EMLS event. So
Okay.
that's kind of how it went down. I know we're approaching the hour mark, and we know you got stuff to do, but one of the things I wanted to ask is where, and it's kind of like a cliche, kind of dumb question, but where do you see yourself in 5 years? Like,
Nice.
what's the
Nice.
end goal of this? I don't know if the nice is sarcastic right now either. All right. But I guess, I mean, people know that I think you're more versatile than just FIFA. Like, everybody sees the jingles. I think the fact that, and I'm not trying to blow smoke, but the fact that Zoo remembers the Fanta, the jingle you made about who it was.
Vargas.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then the guys in Spain like have a connection to you playing 3 players up top and what you call them. You know what I mean? Like, I think these little things have stuck with people more than, maybe a specific goal that you ever scored in FIFA. I think it's the laughs and everything. So if there's something greater than opening up packs during a promo.
Yeah, I mean, I'm someone that doesn't like to think too far ahead.
Okay.
I kind of like to. I'll tell you what. If I have anything close to resembling a superpower, which is maybe something that shoots myself in the foot from time to time, I'd maybe live a little bit too much in the moment, and I don't think about the future too much. So in terms of like the 5-year plan, I like tuned out whenever these kind of questions. In high school, they're like, freshman year, I remember Miss Lewis said, focus on your grades now. She was telling the incoming eighth grade class going to ninth grade. She's like, focus on your grades now because you don't want to be scrambling when you're a senior. And she was right. You know what I mean? Like, I totally didn't care in 9th, 10th, 11th. And then I was scrambling in 12th grade to put some good grades together, of course. Yeah, I don't know, man. I kind of just, I leave it out to the universe to decide what's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm still, willing, I can do this for a little bit longer. Great. You know what I mean? But I'm enjoying it now. I still love it. I still get that same excitement whenever I fire up the stream or put out a piece of content and I get some good feedback. You get numb to the negative comments, but like if someone says, man, like this was so much fun, or thanks for turning me onto that card, or like, anything that resembles a comment about you made my day or anything like that. Like, that's what still does it for me. Like, that's what still keeps me motivated. And, maybe, I don't know about acting, but again, like we started the conversation with, maybe something with directing. But for the foreseeable future, I'm still in love. I'm still as much in love with it as I was at the start, in a different way, I guess. But
that's all you could ask for, though, really.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
what
I
else
mean,
can you want?
5 years, a mansion. I get like, can I get is there maybe some bag can come along or something like that? I don't know, bro. But you always want, you always want more. And I don't know. If I could be doing exactly what I'm doing today 5 years from now, that's the plan.
There you go.
That's the ideal situation. 5 year. Well, hopefully we can do this again sometime. But if we can do this, have the same conversation 5 years from now, we can look back and see if we.
You're still wearing a Raising Cane's t-shirt.
Oh my gosh, still wearing in a wheelchair, wearing a Raising Cane's t-shirt. Oh man.
So
you're a pickleball champion. You're a pickleball champion.
We'll see if we even play in the tournament this weekend. I'm going to be like deathly hungover by tomorrow. But all right, then the final thing that we always like try to leave people with a little bit of knowledge. You went from, which we didn't really ask about, I guess the timing with it, where you went from real life job to being able to do this, right? I assume at some point there had to have been a transition where you know, I'm now doing well enough at this. It might not have been like, you know, crazy numbers wise or whatever, but it was enough to be like, you know what, screw this, the financial stuff. Like I'm going for this, right? At what point, I guess, like, what would the advice be to people out there that want to make that transition from real life job to being creative?
Real life job to being creative. Do you specifically mean like content creation, like streaming in YouTube, or just anything? If they're considering going for anything, that's
If you feel like you can provide the advice to the entire group, then yeah, go for it.
So I mean, I would, you know what I would say? I'd say, man, like there's a part of me that just, and again, like it's cliche, but like just go for it. Because I mean, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, if you're at a job that you don't like, or if you're at something and you don't like it, I guess the safe answer would be stay in the job, do the stuff as a hobby, like find other hours, whether it's weekend or at night or something like that, to kind of grind that passion project. But then there's also, you know, there's an argument to be made where if you just don't like where you're at, just, you know, I guess go for it, man. You know what I mean? Go for it. You know, it's cliche, but you really do only live once. Time flies. You want to be smart with it. Like, you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you just, you know, you're getting kicked out of your place or whatever. But I think there's it's specific to everyone, but I say go for it, man. If there's something that you want to try out, there's no downside. The only, you know, there's no downside. Worst case scenario, you're going to learn something from it. Best case scenario, you might have just found something that you're either good at, or you're fulfilling something that's a dream of yours. I'd say just go for it. Don't worry about, and if it's content creation, don't worry about the equipment. Get a webcam, just pay $50 for a mic. Bro, I haven't upgraded like any of this gear in a long time. So I need to make, bro, I'm still running a 1080 Ti from I mean, that's still a good graphics card, but you know, it's from like 2017. But yeah, I just say go for it, man. Just go for it. I mean, like, you guys are an incredible example of that. Just freaking go for it, man. You can tell that you guys are super passionate about this pod. And if everyone could find something like that, because it's so rare to find something that you genuinely love. You know what I mean? So yeah, just go for it. Just do it. Like Nike. I sound cool. It sounds like a cool thing to say, so I'm just gonna say it.
Put some emotional music in the background for the clip, right, or something.
Old school FIFA 15 KSI violin.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, Zwei, thanks so much for coming on, man.
That was unreal.
If you guys have made it to the end of the podcast, in order for us to hopefully get more guests in the future, if you could leave a 5-star, we'd appreciate that a ton. Obviously, if you haven't followed Zwebeck, I assume the majority of you guys listening have. Go follow him. All the links will be listed down below. Zwei, what's the agenda for lunch today?
I don't know, dude, but yeah, leave a 5-star rating for the 5-head man, or was that what is it? Is it 5-head or 4?
I should have just fucking ended this.
I'm not like, dude, I'm not good. I'm not good with the insults, but I just felt like I heard the 5. You call it 6-head? 6-head?
Dude, I mean, I've worn a hat on the internet for 7 years for a fucking reason, dude. I'm very self-aware of the situation we have going on.
Oh my God. Bucky, the what I tell people, because I have a huge forehead as well, but what I say is we need these huge heads to store the brains that we have, right? To be able to rapid fire answer those questions on Jeopardy, to do the SBCs like we do. You know what I mean? So the bigger your forehead, it kind of is saying like, you know, there's a pretty crazy brain in there as well. So
I've never seen anybody that has a really small forehead be that funny. I'll be brutally honest.
Hey,
name one actor. I can't.
Exactly. Yeah.
Will Ferrell, Peyton Manning, even's got a fucking juicer forehead as well too.
He's the king juicer of the forehead, man. God, this guy.
Oh. All right. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Later.